Whenever you start a new initiative or you're going to take a different path, how and where and why we do things is very important, and the resources necessary to complete the task. So resource allocation is a central management activity that allows for strategy execution. Strategy allocations are often based on political or personal factors. Strategic management enables resources to be allocated according to priorities established by annual objectives. So what types of resources are there? Well, when you're doing a new initiative or a new strategy, of course there's going to be financial burdens and financial resources that are going to be needed and that need to be allocated accordingly. Physical resources, that could be everything from the office, the computers, the trucks, the work that you, materials that you need physically to get the task done. Of course, there's always the human element. How many people are going to be needed, and where are they going to be needed, and what are their jobs going to be to complete the task? And technological resources. And we spent a lot of time talking about that. You're going to need a staff, a computer or technology group that's going to be maintaining your computer databases, going to be managing and saving your backup plans and knowledges and the computer systems and the software and the hardware when you get ready to roll out a new initiative. Do you have it not only in place, do you have the people that are trained to run and to be able to program all the needed information and make sure it's put into the right databases for future analysis? So of course, whenever you're managing people and whenever you're rolling out new initiatives and you're looking at new ways of improving, you're going to have conflict. And that's just a natural human reaction to things going in a different direction than what people are used to and comfortable with. So conflict is disagreement between two or more parties on one or more issue. So when it comes to conflict, establishing annual objectives can lead to conflict because individuals have different expectations and perceptions. We all view things from our own point of view. Schedules create pressures. Personalities are incompatible, and misunderstandings occur between line managers and staff managers. And some of the conflicts roll out or are exhibited in certain behaviors. Some of your employees might exhibit avoidance behavior. This includes such actions as ignoring the problem in hopes that the conflict will resolve itself, or physically separating the conflicting individuals. In other words, they'll avoid the whole change and the whole improvement. Either they don't agree with it, or it's uncomfortable with them because it might be changing their role in the organization. Some people might exhibit an attitude of diffusion. This includes playing down differences between conflicting parties while situating similarities and common interests. Managing conflict. How it can be exhibited is through confrontation. And confrontation is not always a bad thing. Confrontation can be exemplified by exchanging members of conflicting parties so that each can gain an appreciation of the other's point of view. Or it can be during and while holding a meeting at which conflicting parties present their views and work through their differences. Restructuring. Restructuring involves reducing the size of the firm in terms of number of employees, number of divisions or units, and number of hierarchical levels in the firm's organizational structure. This is also called downsizing or right-sizing an organization, or delayering an organization. I'm sure we've all been through them and heard about them. and it's just getting the right size in the organization to meet the long-term objectives. Re-engineering. Re-engineering is going to involve configuring or redesigning work, jobs, processes for the purposes of improving cost, quality, service, and speed. Also called process management, process innovation, or process redesign. Basically, it's going to be looking at how we used to do our jobs and what now do we need to do to make changes in our processes and in our work and in our procedures so that we can get to that point that we need to improve so that our company is in a stronger position to be more competitive. All right, we want to talk about also in the workplace that it's going to be important to manage resistance to change. Some of the managing styles could include or does include a forced change strategy. That involves giving orders and enforcing those orders, command and control. Educative change strategy, one that presents information to convince people of the need for change. Communication, talking, showing where we're at now and where we want to be. You're going to educate our workforce. And then there could also be self-interest change strategy, one that attempts to convince individuals that the change is to their personal advantage. In other words, showing them if we are here now, but if we make these changes and we are involved and we do our best to make the change successful, this is where you're going to see advantages, your own personal advantages. Creating a strategy-supportive culture, formal statements of organizational philosophy, charters, creeds, materials used for recruitment and the selection and socialization. It's designing of physical spaces, facades, and buildings. It's going to support a positive culture. Number 3, deliberate role modeling, teaching, and coaching by leaders. Lead by example and help those that are struggling with change to understand how you're there for them and you're going to teach them and help them and coach them along the way. Explicit reward status system, promotion criteria. As the change happens, there could be different opportunities and there could even be reward-based benefits. And number 5, stories, legends, myths, parables about key people and events. Bring up the history of the company and how we've made change and how we've looked at different strategies and how we've made improvements to keep our company strong and important and viable in the marketplace. So in creating a strategic supportive culture, number 6, what leaders pay attention to, what they are measuring and what they have control over. Are they on top of all situations, not only with the work going out the door, but the employees that are making the work go out the door? Do you understand what they're going through? And are you talking to them and are you supportive of them? Leader reactions to critical incidents and organizational crisis. Are you taking a positive lean towards that and understanding that changes need to be made? And sometimes they need to be made quickly. And you need to make sure your employees are understanding what policies or what procedures do we need to look at, reinforce, and or make the changes with. Also, you need to know how the organization is designed and structured. Who's making the calls, who's making the decisions, what departments are involved, who do you interact with, how is it the organization designed now, and how is it structured to help you understand how we're going to manage and organize this change. Organizational systems and procedures. As we make changes within an organization to be in better positions to be competitive, we might need to look at the current systems that we have in place and the procedures and make those subtle changes and maybe even drastic changes. But we also need to make sure we're communicating not just what we're going to change or improve, but why. And then we also need to look at the criteria when we get to the point where we want to recruit new employees, the selections of promotion that we have in place, leveling off? When are we going to have to say, no, this is what we have, these are the resources we have, this is what we need now to apply ourselves to get the improvements and the changes to be more competitive? You need to also keep and make a note and be considerate of there's future retirements that could be on the horizon, and also the excommunication of people. Maybe now you have people in positions that's not a good fit. Either you need to re-educate them, maybe you need to move them into other departments, or maybe it's time you sever your work with those employees and having them on your staff. That happens.